Yes, therapy. We're going to get into it today. This is going to be my last video of 2021. I'm going to be doing my nails in this video because you guys seem to like this style video. So this was the routine I did when I had my really long nails. I don't know why people thought my natural long nails were gross when you're paying $80. See, let's not do that. Let's not do that. But anyway, so therapy. I wanted to talk about therapy today because I think in 2020 and in 2021, it became a less taboo subject. And I found it strange that when I would speak about mental health or my experience with therapy, that people would text me and be like, "Hey Christian, I watched your latest video. I just wanted to make sure that you're okay." And it's just because you go to therapy, you don't have to have a major life event going on in order to go to therapy. So me personally, how I started going to individual sessions was that I honestly have always known that I want to be a mother at some point. And I was just it was freshman year of college. I knew some other people that were going to the counseling center at my college, and I was like, well, it's free, but in reality it's not free. Your tuition is paying for it. So at this point, you need to take advantage of what your parents' tuition is paying for. And I was like, I'm gonna go see what that's about, because I honestly was just curious to see if I had any toxic traits, because I didn't want to be a toxic parent. So I go to my session, and it was good. The first session was pretty good. I mean, it was a lot of questions about my childhood and how I grew up. And I feel like I did a lot of talking. But for the most part, it was pretty good. I remember every session after the first session, I cried. And I don't cry I cry a lot of times when I'm frustrated or angry and sad, but I feel like I use tears and crying to express a lot more emotions than just sadness. But anyway, I felt like in my sessions, I was doing a lot more talking than the therapist was. I was pretty much leading myself to conclusions without a lot of help from the therapist. And I don't know, I felt like it was a good experience, at least because you have the confidentiality of being able to talk to someone who, unless there are extreme circumstances where they have to report something because you are putting yourself or others in danger, that person will have their lips sealed with whatever you tell them. So I felt like it was a good experience. And I learned a lot of things about myself, and I did definitely learn that I had some toxic traits. But the reason that I want to say that I went to therapy just because I was curious is to circle back and say I had problems. So even if you think like, oh no, I'm fine, like I'm not going through anything, or like I don't need therapy. Therapy is for people with big issues or mental health problems. It's like, no. I went because I was curious and I found out a lot about myself. And even therapists have their own therapist. And so I don't know if that's going to make any of you feel better about going, but I definitely think that the shame that has been placed upon therapy, I feel like it's going away slowly. And I just wanted to let people know that like it's okay if you go, and especially if you're a college student and you're paying for it. I'm not going to say it's free. You're paying for it through your tuition. At least go and see what it's like because you're paying for it. So I believe I went to 4 sessions, and then my therapist was basically like, well, I think you've worked through all of your issues, so I'm going to stop putting you on the bi-weekly schedule, and you can just, here's my card, you can just call or email me if you would like to make a session if anything comes up. And I say thank you and everything, and I just kind of go on about my life. And I ended up trying to see if my therapist was still available, and turns out she left. So when I found out that my therapist left, I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through telling someone my business again, so I'll just handle things on my own, YouTube University, get some free tools. And I feel like that lasted for maybe a couple of months. And then I felt like, some things came up, and I felt like, okay, well, I think it's time for you to, go back. And I ended up getting a new therapist who basically told me that I am so smart that I would basically therapize myself in the therapist's office to the point where they probably thought I didn't have any issues. And I don't, when I say issues, it's not big things. It's just like people pleasing, or like attachment style stuff, or just like things that you learned in childhood that are just not normal. And when I say not normal, it's just like, for example, my therapist told me that only having one parent in the household is a form of trauma, which I didn't know that. Like, I know it definitely affects you differently if you have 2 parents, but I did not know that having one parent in the household was trauma. But anyway, yeah, so she basically told me that I'm so smart that I am able to just sound like I have come to my own conclusions and I don't have issues. But the therapist I have now is really like, her questions are so simple, but they really get to the root of the issue. And she knows, like, you can tell she's very experienced. And I feel like it might just be a cultural thing, because I believe the therapist I had at first, well, I only went to her like 4 times, but she was I think she was Asian. Yeah, I think she was Asian. But the one I have now is black, so yeah. But the one I have now is very helpful, I think, because I really like, not saying that I love the situation that we're in, but I love video sessions. Like, I have this app on my phone that I get on, or you can even get on your computer, but I love it because I just get on this app on my phone and we just talk for an hour, and it just feels like I'm on FaceTime. Like, it doesn't feel like it's so serious, and it's so like, okay, so, and how does that make you feel? And let's unpack. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like I'm having a conversation. And yes, most of the time I'm like, oh, and I do this because of this, and I do that because of that. But I just feel like if you have the opportunity to go, you should at least go once or twice. Even if you feel like you don't have immediate issues or problems, just try it out and see how it goes, because I definitely have benefited from it. One little mini story time. So I had this one class called dance education, and I did my final exam. First of all, let's talk about how I got 100 on my midterm for that class. Like, yes. But for the final exam, I ended up getting a 94, and the professor emailed me and was like, hey, Christian, I just graded your... First of all, I'm sorry, but I also submitted my final like a day early, so let's just also clap for that. But back to the story. So she emailed me and she was like, hey, Christian, I gave you a 94 on your final. I had some minor tweaks for you. If you would like to fix it and get the points, here are the issues with your paper. If not, have a great semester. The people pleaser in me was like, oh, you should fix what's wrong with your final, because like, what if one day she needs somebody to do something and she's like, oh, let me use Christian because she's a perfectionist and she's this and she's that. And I was like, but if you already have an A in the class and you have other finals that you need to work on, why would you stress yourself out to fix these minor tweaks? Just for what exactly? Just for the hope that she might need you one day? Like, I was like, nope, just email her back. Have a good semester. Bye. And that's what I did, because I already had an A in the class. So why? And so that's growth. That is what you call growth, because I feel like last year, 2 years ago, probably would have been scrambling to fix those minor tweaks so I could have 100 on my final and my midterm. But it's just like, pick your battles. I'm also in another situation where a teacher gave me an A minus and now I have a 3.99, and I'm surprisingly not as worried as I thought I was going to be, because I don't know, something about 3.99 just really makes my eye twitch. And it's just like, why? So he gave me an A minus, and he honestly, we didn't get any grades for the class. So it's kind of confusing. And I only missed one class, and the class that I did miss was because I was in the hospital. I emailed him, communicated, hey, I was in the hospital. I can provide proof if you need it that I was in the hospital. And he didn't respond to my email. I'm in a bunch of email threads with him now about my grade and why I got an A minus. But if he doesn't end up changing it to an A, of course I'm going to be mad that my GPA went from a 4.0 to a 3.99 and you can't give me a reason why I got an A minus. Of course I'm going to be irritated. But that number is not determining my worth as an individual, because I used to feel like I needed to get all A's all the time. A minuses still really do make me mad, because some teachers are petty and they just don't want to give A's. And I experienced a professor like that this past semester, where it was just like, you're not giving me regular A's just because you want to be petty. But I'm not as worried about it as I would have been. I feel like in the past, I definitely would have been a lot more irritated, frustrated, angry. But baby, what you have to understand is I'm not trying to go to graduate school. So I have a 3.99 as of December 30th, 2021. And I'm not trying to go to graduate school. So technically, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're trying to go to graduate school, it might matter, but like, yes, I've been on the dean's list every semester since I started college. I feel like I've been in college forever. I started taking college classes when I was 15. And I'm pretty much over college. But yeah, like I said, I'm not as worried about these numbers, because I used to feel like if I didn't have a perfect GPA, that my world was going to come crashing down. And guess what? The world is still turning. So yes, going to therapy definitely helped me find out that me being a perfectionist is a trauma response. I didn't learn about this from therapy specifically, but I did learn from one of my interpersonal communication classes that I am not a securely attached individual. But we're working our way towards secure attachment. We are continuously acknowledging the things that trigger those wounds, and definitely something that I want to continue to work on in 2022. But yeah, things that, I'm not saying I'm perfect, I'm not saying I'm where I want to be, but things that used to trigger me don't trigger me like that anymore. Validation, I feel like I told you guys that in August it was finalized that my Instagram is permanently deleted, which I'm, happy about, don't care about at all, don't miss it at all. Like, if you don't have the ability to get off of social media for a day, you're the perfect candidate to take a break. And I hate when people say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but because the people that are listening are the people that are listening. So obviously they were guided to whatever you're talking about for a reason. But if you are one of those people, I need to take a break. But I definitely have noticed that with me deleting my Instagram, that YouTube has definitely taken that place of the time that I would spend on Instagram. And like I told you guys, I haven't been consistent with Instagram in like 3 or 4 years. Like, about 3 or 4 years ago, I started disabling my account. And I feel like YouTube is definitely a more educational platform, but you can get trapped in the whirlwind of content. And I could really, if I really wanted to, I could stay on YouTube all day. Like, I do it most days when I have nothing to do. I can really stay on YouTube forever. And so I want to replace my YouTube time with more reading. Because I have glasses now, it is really not good for me to stare at screens for a long time. I'm only 20. I don't want to damage my eyes more than they are already damaged, even though the damage that I have now is genetic. It's not like I don't think it's due to anything else. But it's not really good for me to be staring at screens all day. So I am definitely gonna be reducing screen time, reading more audiobooks, stuff like that. Like, I want to get a coloring book. I really want to get a coloring book because I don't know if I feel comfortable with libraries right now. Everybody touching books and then put it up. I don't think so. So I guess I'm going to be an audiobook girl for a while, unless I want to buy paperback, which I don't know. But I really hope that you guys benefit from my content. I know that some people probably unsubscribe, which is great because then you can get in front of the people that are actually supposed to be supporting you. And definitely hasn't been nice to watch how slow my channel has been growing. Like, I feel like my channel is growing at the speed of a snail. But it is good to know that I am not faking and I'm not doing hair videos because I feel forced or coerced. I'm actually doing content that I want to do because I want to do it. And because it's another source of income, which I love, gotta keep the lights on. But look forward to more business content coming from me in the next year. I just wrote out all of my goals for this upcoming year, and more business content on YouTube was definitely a part of that. So comment down below some video topics that you would like me to touch on. I'm really glad I got this audio done in one take. Like, I don't think you guys understand how difficult it is I don't have any notes right now. Like, I'm speaking off the top of my head and it's kind of difficult. But I'm really glad I got through it, and I think it's helping with my public speaking skills. And two things that I might address really quickly. One person just asked me if I was a quarter Asian, and I'm not. And I have a couple videos on my channel about my ancestry results, and I'm pretty sure the first video is titled "I'm Not Mixed." And I had a lot of people commenting on that video like, "You don't look mixed, you don't look mixed, like, what are you talking about? You don't look mixed, you look African." And when I get comments like this, like, "Are you a quarter Asian?" Like, that's why I make titles like addressing my ethnicity for the last time. And I don't know. I really don't know why I get questions like that, because my eyes are shaped a little bit almond. I don't know. But if you look up the sand people, you will see that it's not just credited to one group of people, almond-shaped eyes. The other thing I wanted to address was a lot of people complaining about the quality of my content when you don't pay for equipment. Like, I had one person comment on one of my videos and they were like, oh, like, I hear you, like, literally smacking into the microphone. And I'm like, first of all, I did 5 takes on that video. I was not going to do a 6th take. I don't have microphone equipment. I am recording this voiceover on my iPhone. I don't have an expensive microphone because YouTube income is not looking like, let me go spend $300 on an expensive microphone for me to not get the engagement I deserve, because you're preventing people, you're not recommending my content, and you're purposefully preventing people from getting notifications for my videos. It's not give more than what you're receiving. And if you feel a type of way about a creator's content, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and purchase that equipment. I'll see you guys next year.